Opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and not WSTU. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU.
The Treasure Coast longest-running local talk radio show is on the air. The Treasure Coast Forum, brought to you by... Get interested, get educated, get involved, and give us a call with your opinions at 220-9788. And here's your host of the Treasure Coast Forum.
Welcome back to WSTU 1450, the Treasure Coast Forum. I'm your host, Cassidy Fowler, and today I'm joined here with...
Sophia, hi.
So Sophia is a special guest. She lives all the way down in Miami. So I'm sure that she'll bring some very interesting perspectives to our dialogue today.
All right.
So also Frank is here with us in the studio. We're currently practicing social distancing by using Zoom, which I know a lot of people have been using given the current circumstances. So hopefully we can continue the show like this and break our long hiatus.
Here you go. Yes.
Yep. So in the news today, basically everything Corona, but there is one fun thing that I want to bring up, just a fun topic to start off with. So Elon Musk and his wife had a child. Now, Elon Musk already has 5 other kids that he had with another woman, but this baby is special. And the baby is special because of its name. It isn't really a name that is like others. It actually is just a bunch of numbers and letters. And when a common person looks at it, they find no meaning to the name. But Elon Musk and his wife, what is it, Grimes or Grimes? I don't want to mispronounce it. Does anyone know?
I don't.
I have no idea.
Oh, all good. We're just going to assume that it's Grimes. So
okay.
Elon Musk and Grimes named their baby, and this is exactly how it's pronounced, X-Ash Archangel Musk. Now, it doesn't look like that in writing. It looks like the letter X, then a space, the A-E, I don't even know. It's not really a letter, but it's the formation of the letter A and E, and then A-12. So each of the letters and numbers have significance. So the X stands for an unknown variable.
Okay.
Don't really know too much of the meaning behind that, but surely Elon did it intentionally.
Yeah.
And then the AE is basically his way of spelling AI, since he is very into technology. And then A-12 is the precursor to the SR-17 aircraft, which is the Archangel 12. So that's what the A-12 stands for. It was basically just Elon's favorite aircraft. So he decided to name his child that.
Okay, well,
yeah.
When you're
I'm not really too sure
yeah.
what exactly the first name is. I don't know if it's the X or the AE part or the A-12 part. It just seems like
it's a little strange. Yes.
Letters, separate name.
Yeah. But it's definitely a unique kid, but the poor kid, he might get bullied when he grows up, so.
I mean, honestly, being the child of Elon Musk, I don't think he's going to get bullied anywhere he goes.
All right, that's actually very true. They're pretty wealthy. He's set for life, even with that name.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the last name Musk gives him an advantage over everybody else.
Well,
100%.
Now at school, when I was in school, I mean, kids didn't call me Frank or Frankie. They just called me Mez or Mezopel. They just referred to me by my last name. So I suspect that would happen anyways, right?
Oh, yeah,
with Musk, right? So,
yeah. He'll definitely be called probably Musk and definitely follow in the shadow of his father.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Yeah. Well, good. All right. Well, so, and how old's this child? Now it's a newborn, right?
It's a newborn. Yep. It was just born. And the name was released yesterday.
Aw.
So, yep.
Well,
a lot of people are freaking out on social media. I could play it. There's one funny meme, if people out there know what memes are, but there's one meme going around on social media, and it's, let me see if I can find it. I wish I pulled it up earlier. Well, I'll just explain it. So it's
Okay.
basically like, how the baby's name is pronounced, and it's just a bunch of like beeping and bopping and like technological sounds. That's pretty
Yeah,
fun.
it's funny.
Yeah. hmm
All right.
So that's how the younger generation's taking the baby's name.
All
I
right.
think people hate too much on the name. I kind of like it. It's unique.
It is unique. It's actually kind of a pretty name, like X Ash Archangel. It's just really unique. I
Yeah.
like the name Ash though.
Yeah. So likely, so I take it's a girl.
No, it's a boy.
It's a boy. Okay.
It's a
Well,
boy.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, you can't really assume the gender
All
with
right.
that type of name.
Okay.
Mhm.
So the students, I mean, the other kids could just refer to the child as Ash, right?
Yep.
That's
pretty
a
easy.
possibility too. Yeah. So.
Well, the other kids' names they're not super common, but they're
Mhm.
definitely not as out there as
That is out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
The other kids' names he actually has two twins and one set of twins and one set of triplets.
Mm.
So this is the first kid that he's had that's just a single child.
Wow.
But the other kids' names are Griffin and Xavier, and then the triplets are Damien, Saxon, and Kai.
All right.
Yep.
Some of them fairly traditional names. Yeah.
Yeah, some of
Mhm.
them pretty traditional. Yep.
Yeah. Very good. What else we got going on?
Well, I guess we'll hop into the coronavirus.
All
since
right.
it's all that's in the news nowadays. We're going to try to take a more upbeat approach to the virus, though. We don't want to keep.
Yeah. We
with
don't
the
want to be
negative
Debbie
energy that's
Downer
found in
today.
media.
Yeah. Okay.
So, one thing that really stuck out to me was the fact that nobody knows the origins of the virus. And because of this, many people are out there speculating some conspiracy theories.
Right.
And different areas around the world, there are different conspiracy theories. Over in China, citizens over there are speculating that the United States actually made the virus and brought it over during the 2019 Wuhan military games.
Huh.
So, yeah, basically over in China, everyone's thinking that Trump created it. They're calling it the Trump virus. And then over here in the United States, a lot of people are speculating that the virus was made in a lab that happens to be minutes away from the supposed place that it started, which was the market. And so the story behind that is that an intern wasn't following the protocol
Okay.
while tending to the virus, and she got infected and infected her boyfriend, who happened to work in the market, and then it all started from there.
So it got yeah. So I mean the unofficial story circulating around is that it came out of a lab that was looking at the virus. It was a known virus, but it was in a lab, and it mistakenly had gotten out through some mechanism. They weren't too sure, and that is the official / unofficial understanding thus far. So
yeah, but there's no hard piece of evidence indicating that the story is true. That's just what is assumed.
correct.
It just happens to be like a major coincidence that there is this lab that has all these different versions of the coronavirus just
Right.
in Wuhan, the origin.
Right.
So,
Right. So
Wait, the lab has other versions of the coronavirus?
well,
yeah,
this
so
is-
basically like COVID-19 isn't the only version of COVID.
oh no.
It's the 19th version.
Well, actually, it's
Well,
because
not
it
the
was
wait,
well, it was discovered in 2019.
oh,
so-
okay, never mind.
So that's
Yeah,
where
it
the
was
number
discovered in
19. But yeah, a lot of people
2019.
commonly
There'll
think
be
it's the
no
19th.
COVID-20.
Right. Right.
I
So
thought all the other versions of the virus came from like animals.
Yeah, actually, all the other versions of the virus came from bats and mice.
Mhm.
So it's just like a family of the virus. And it's named the coronavirus because it has almost a crown shape like orientation with the I don't know how to describe it, but with the little like notches, not
Mhm.
notches.
yeah, if you were to take a disc and hold it to cover up the body of the sun, the flames, the outline area above that is the corona of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
and that's why the name coronavirus. It has a similar look as that.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of gives you that's where that term comes from.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. I don't really believe in any of those conspiracy theories. I just find it really funny how people believe that it comes from the actual beer, and that's why
Oh my goodness.
From
Yeah.
from
it's just,
beer,
like going down exponentially is so funny to me.
right?
Yeah. So people there, back in, I would say like February, early March, people were saying that the virus, well, people were making the connection in their head that the Corona beer
Mm.
basically caused the coronavirus.
Oh my God!
I don't know how
Right.
that makes sense
No.
to people, because it doesn't make sense to me.
No.
But there was actually speculation about that, and Corona beer sales went down, but now they're definitely up, because I have seen on social media countless people just poking fun at Corona beer, and yeah.
Sure, it's all
Like
free
a-
advertising. Mm.
Wait, Sophia, what were you saying?
A joke at this point, just
Yeah.
drinking.
100%. Mm-hmm.
All right. So why don't you give us the report from Miami, Sophia?
Yeah, what is it like down there with the coronavirus? How are you being quarantined? What are the protocols?
Honestly, for the most part, we're pretty quarantined. For the past like month, we haven't. First of all, like all school was canceled nationwide, so we haven't had school, and I haven't really seen that many of my friends. But if anything, I think people generally tend to choose like one friend, and they just hang out with that one person and keep to themselves.
Mhm.
I only know one family from my school that actually got corona, which is kind of incredible since I live in such a populated place. But
Yep. Mhm.
not a lot of people that I know personally have got it. I will say that at first, all beaches were open, and Miami Beach was really populated, especially because so when this all started, it was
Spring break. Yeah.
like all colleges, like all college students came down to Miami as they normally do, and then like they were partying and stuff, and the beaches were really populated, and everybody like didn't care about corona, so they had to close down the beaches. But that like boosted corona spread like a lot, especially
Mhm.
the beginning of the spread. So after they closed beaches and parks and everything, everybody kind of stayed inside for a while. It was kind of like a ghost town. It's crazy. I got a speeding ticket, not a speeding ticket, like a red light ticket a couple days ago, unfortunately. And
Oh.
it's the picture just shows my car. And if you see the street, like it's US 1, usually super populated, usually with like a million cars, like traffic. It was empty. It was just my car. So it very important to stay inside and like not go outside and not see people.
Mhm.
Now though, like starting this month, it has changed a lot because the governor made the decision to reopen parks, not beaches, but just parks. And
Mhm.
that caused a lot of commotion with like people kind of like had them in the mindset of, oh, it's over, like we can go out now, and like you can tell the difference in the streets. Like a lot of people are going out more.
Mhm. How do you think? I think that a consequence of the coronavirus, a major change that will come in our society because of it, is a change in culture. So I know down in Miami, in the times that I've been down there with you, one major thing that I've noticed that's super different than just a little bit up north here is that when you meet people, you usually greet them and give them like a cute little peck on the cheek, or like, Sophia.
Yeah, the Hispanic culture.
Yeah. Mhm. And that's a major part of the Hispanic culture. And I feel like now with the coronavirus being so prominent, it's going to change the way that people are greeted. Even with a formal handshake, I feel as though people are now becoming germaphobes, and they're not going to practice the same introductions as they usually do. And I don't know how that's going to change our culture in the long run.
I mean, honestly, I kind of disagree with that because I feel like eventually it'll just go back to normal. Like even now with the coronavirus actually happening, like I know people that are still going out, which they shouldn't do, but they still do. And like I know that they're like the greetings. It's just like it's been such a long time. I feel like a much larger event, which is ironic since this is such a large event,
Yeah.
must have that to change. Like that's such a cultural thing down here.
Mhm.
Like I don't think that's gonna change. Maybe it'll change for a little bit, but I don't see that changing in the long run. Like
yeah.
a year from now, or maybe even January, like I feel like this whole thing will be over, hopefully. And so
Mhm.
I really don't see that changing.
Well, that's a good thing that hopefully the culture won't be impacted long term by this. But
Yeah.
it's scary to think that, at least for us, we're going to college soon, and colleges might not reopen in the fall, and they're certainly not opening for in-person classes in the summer. So
Yeah. My lacrosse coach, she is a UM professor,
Mhm.
and she was talking to us the other day on a Zoom call about how UM is starting to prepare classes just in case they don't open in the fall. And I don't doubt that a lot of schools, especially bigger schools, might not reopen until
Mhm.
spring. Which honestly, from my perspective, like I was supposed to go to college in the fall. And it just kind of sucks because I already signed a lease. I already have like all these plans to go up and like stay in Gainesville, and that might have to change, or like that might just not happen, or I might have to move to Gainesville but then not be able to take my classes
Mhm.
because of COVID. So I think this definitely impacts college students a lot, very heavily, and especially college seniors and high school seniors are being
Yeah.
heavily.
Yeah, personally, we've both missed out on so many just monumental experiences for a high school graduate. We haven't experienced our senior prom. We haven't had
Yeah,
what
the
else?
all-night senior party,
Graduation.
right?
Wait, what?
The
What did you say?
all-night senior party.
Yeah, we never had that. We'll never
Right.
have grad bash. We'll never have even like simple senior pranks. We'll never be able to
Yeah.
experience what everyone else in society has. And it's
Mm.
kind of sad that
Yeah.
we'll never have the opportunity to go back and
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's hard to do a redo on that, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know some schools, at least mine, they're trying to have graduation in late July, but I
Mhm.
don't know if that's actually going to happen.
Well, it's
Yeah,
good that they're
my
planning
school
for it is a possibility.
Wait, Sophia, what did you just say?
What the superintendent of Miami-Dade Schools is saying, he sent out a message about high school seniors and stuff. We're gonna have a Zoom graduation, so
Oh
we're
my goodness.
graduation as of now, and then eventually we'll have an in-person graduation they expect for like late July, August.
Mhm.
Which honestly, I'm gonna be here, so it doesn't really affect me. But I know that if somebody's leaving for college, or if somebody's like,
Leaving even for the military, if they're enlisted and they are being shipped off in early
Yeah.
July, then they're not going to be able to participate.
it affects a lot of people very differently, and everybody's kind of in their own trying to figure this whole situation out. One thing I will say though is that I've been told, like, obviously I'm grieving over this, but I'm trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. And all my teachers, like, I have this one teacher, and I was talking to him, and he was telling me he graduated high school about 30 years ago. He told us, like, I barely remember my senior year, like after 30 years of graduation, like it becomes kind of, you kind of
Just
forget
a
about
blur. Yeah.
us high school seniors now. Even though we didn't get what we expected, we will forever remember our senior year
Yeah.
because it was,
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I definitely feel like that we're gonna have like a bigger, not a bigger experience, but we're graduating in a time that, like, this point in history will be taught years later, and it's a monumental experience to live in, and it's definitely different than any other graduate year and what they've experienced.
I agree. It's funny. I saw a meme online, and it was like, I can't believe that kids 30 years from now are going to be failing history exams about what I'm living through.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. It's a crazy, crazy time.
Crazy world. How much time do we have until the break, Frank?
5 minutes.
5 minutes. All right. Well, what can we bring up in 5 minutes? Do you have any points to make, Frank? relating to schools or anything
School-
like that?
Well, no, because I mean, this is topical for you guys. All I
Mhm.
can tell you is I barely remember my high school graduation from 1971. I mean, we had the all-night senior party, which we spent in the entire school. The entire school was on lockdown, so we were all the seniors were in there. The pool was open, and they had all kinds of entertainment and food that they brought in, and it was a pretty neat experience. At 3 a.m, I'm in the pool, with all these other students. So, and then by 4 or 5 o'clock, we're watching a magic show. At 6 o'clock, breakfast was served. So it was a pretty fond memory. But everything else is a blur. I mean, I barely remember walking across the stage to get my diploma, that sort of thing. I don't have much of a memory of that. It was just kind of, you're there with all the other students. But the all night, I've never done an all night party before, so that's probably why it stands out in my mind. I mean, I've never graduated before either, but so that was, but the all night party just was extra special because of all the unique aspects of it. But the other was just
Hopefully seniors
nervous.
next year will be able to experience and have those
Hopefully,
memories and
yes.
make it up for us.
Yeah, hopefully. And I don't know how the whole social distancing and what that's going to look like, and for how long.
Yeah.
And it may be self-imposed as a part of our culture going forward for quite some time.
Yeah, I think that it's going to definitely make a bunch of germaphobes out of society.
Oh, yeah.
but
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully we can revert to some sort of norm, but I feel like it'll still impact us in the same way that 9/11 changed our lives, the same way that the 2008 recession changed our lives.
Indeed.
So it's definitely one of those once in a lifetime, hopefully crossing my fingers, once in a lifetime experience. Hopefully no COVID-21.
Right.
Once in a century.
Yeah, once in a century. Mhm.
This has never happened before. It's kind of crazy how the entire world shut down. Like, that's never happened before. Like, maybe a country or like a continent tops has been shut down because of something like this, but never the entire world. Is kind of insane to think about.
Yeah, in our lifetimes, but not by any means. I just wonder how this compares to how they used to deal with diseases and infections back in the day, like the 1918 pandemic. I wonder how, well, obviously there's major differences in our healthcare, but if social distancing was still a thing back then.
People, well, no, not so much, but people did wear face covers, masks of
did?
some sort. Yes.
Oh, wow.
You can pull up some, in fact, when we go on break, pull up some archived images. You'll see people on trains and people waiting for buses and things of that sort. Some old black and white images, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that part is pretty part of our history, our culture that way. So, and in the West, the cowboys, they wore a bandana and they used it to cover their face because of all the dust and so things of that sort. Not necessarily for robbing trains, but it was so that they could, cover their face, for especially if they're on horseback. There's a lot of dust in the air. So it's, so that's always been part of our culture as far as that goes.
All right. Well, I guess I hope that it continues to be used to prevent those that are infected.
There you go.
That's the only real use of the masks.
Spread the, stop the spread of the virus. Exactly.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we're going to take our regulation timeout at this time, and we will be right back. So please stay with us.
Rejoin the meeting. I'll shut it down and then we'll restart it.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll do that. So everyone just hop back on. Okay.
All right.
You got it, Sophia?
What?
Just rejoin on the link. I'm going to shut it down. Okay. So just rejoin on the link because the meeting is like timed.
I thought you had to use a different one.
We'll see. We'll see if it still gives me like the time remaining. Okay.
All right. Well, all right. I'm standing by.
If
I'm
it
not.
doesn't work, we'll see. All right. All right.
All right.
Bye.
All right. WSTU. Hey. Nice. Yeah, it's working out good. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Thanks. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye. Test 1, 2.
How many breaks are there in this?
After this.
All right.
How many minutes do we have left, Frank?
33 seconds.
Sweet. So I think that fixed the problem. It again says that I have like 40 minutes. So
Okay, cool.
I guess we'll just do that moving on. Or I could try to figure out how to make my
All right,
account a
fair enough.
account for next time.
15 seconds. Welcome.
back
Go-
to WSTU 1450, the Treasure Coast Forum.
All right, good job.
Didn't know when to go there. Sorry, Frank.
That's all right. That's all right.
I tried.
It's you in the studio I give you a hand cue, but
Yeah.
we don't have that luxury. So
No, we don't. I just
There it
had
is.
to kind of play it by the ear.
there you go. And you did
Yeah.
fine. You did fine.
Thanks.
So what's
All right, so we're gonna pick up the conversation, pick it back up, talking about vaccines. So obviously, I'm sure that a majority of the listeners know that a vaccine isn't really a feasible idea for the next couple months. It's more likely to be seen in about a year and a half or a year from now,
right.
which is a scary thing because that's the thing that everyone is waiting for.
Right.
But with that being said, there are currently a little over 100 vaccines that are currently being investigated. And there is this not new vaccine that's coming out, but a more modern form of a vaccine rather than a shot. So this is called biofarming. And what biofarming is, and it's farming spelled as in like a pharmacy, not farming like the FAR.
Okay. Mhm.
So
PH. Mhm.
biofarming
Mhm.
is basically when a genetically modified plant is used to make a vaccine. So they first have these virus-like particles within the genetically modified plant.
Mhm.
And this is a structural protein of the virus. And it basically has antigen sequences in it. And these antigen sequences, once consumed by a human,
Mhm.
form a protective response.
Right. It tricks your body into thinking it needs to start a protective response. Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Mhm.
And so there's a couple benefits by using this form of vaccine rather than having a vaccine injected into you through a shot. For starters, it's so much cheaper because if you think about it, you don't have to have the vaccine in a stable condition.
Mhm.
You don't have to pay the cost of cooling the vaccine or preventing contaminations of other pathogens because it's simply in the form of a fruit or vegetable.
Mhm.
And there's currently many different fruits and vegetables being tested. Some of them include a tomato and others include something very similar to a tobacco plant. So the only requirements for what type of vegetable it is or fruit it is that it has to be relatively cheap to not manufacture, but to grow.
Mhm.
And it has to be able to be genetically modified. So that includes a range of crops, including corn, again, tomatoes, tobacco type plants. And a university in Mexico called, the Nueva Leon University is trying to make a vaccine out of tomatoes. And they've previously worked on other diseases such as Ebola using these same techniques. So they, again, are making a vaccine out of tomatoes. Currently, they're in clinical trial testing, which is pretty far in the stages of trying to get it passed. So it might even be out before a year, but I'm sure everyone has their hopes up. And again, it's a way cheaper way of getting vaccines out to people. It's especially useful for underdeveloped countries because underdeveloped countries
They
don't
don't have refrigeration and
they don't have the infrastructure to handle vaccines. Yep.
Right.
So by using biofarming, it can be more widespread at a cheaper cost, which is pretty much the goal of a vaccine.
Nice.
So yeah.
Well done.
And it doesn't take that much space to grow either. It's not like it consumes other resources or more space. So it's basically just like any other vegetable. It could just be consumed simply like eating an apple or eating a tomato, or it can also be put into a capsule form. So it's actually also good for people that have a fear of needles. So yeah.
Yeah, well, which would be what 88.9% of the public.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially for kids.
Oh my God. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If I can get cured of the coronavirus by eating a salad, sign me up.
Oh yeah.
There you go. Yeah, just chop it up, put it in a salad. You're good to go.
They could just open a restaurant and have reservations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I gotta get into this business. I'm in
There
the
you
wrong
go.
business.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Right.
goodness.
So
Mhm.
do the biofarming. Very good.
Biofarming. Yeah.
I love it.
And
What a brilliant concept.
yep. And I found this. I just wanted to share where I found all this out. There's this really cool website called allianceforscience.cornell.edu, and it's obviously ran by Cornell University. And they publish a lot of articles that are unbiased. They don't affiliate with any political side, and they just give you the cold, hard facts.
Mhm.
And right now they're pumping out a lot of articles relating, obviously, to the coronavirus. And I think that it just displays accurate information that isn't biased at all, like a lot of the other media outlets are conveying. So
Okay. All right.
if anyone wants to check that out, again, it's allianceforscience.cornell.edu. Highly recommend.
Nice.
yeah, so that's where I found out that tomatoes could be our next vaccine. So yeah.
All right. Well,
I
good.
think it's interesting. I have never heard of it before, but I did see an article about tobacco industries trying to work on a cure for coronavirus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think about like 28 different groups of people are attempting to create an antidote using tobacco plants or tobacco type plants and using the same biopharming way.
Hmm.
So yeah,
All right.
I think that it'll grow. Like using this type of vaccine will grow in our lifetime. And I feel like shots just might not be the number one way to vaccine anymore.
Yeah, unless they'll use like hypo sprays or nasal sprays or something
mhm.
like that.
Oh, I wonder how this is going to impact those anti-vax families.
Oh, God.
If they're still going to be against.
Oh, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But what if it changes? What if you could trick them by what if like the
can't
government
do
just
that.
tricks us by like only giving out or like giving out only tomatoes that are biofarming?
Mhm. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. No, I don't know if tricking is the appropriate.
Oh no, that might not be the right term.
No.
No, that was a little thing.
There could be. I think you're bumping up against freedom of information stuff,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Maybe
So-
this is America. We're fine.
It's like- yeah, I think if you were in the Soviet Union or in China, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, eat this.
Oh gosh. Oh, maybe
Yeah.
China's going to use it since
Well,
they have that
they
type
could-
of power.
Well, sure, and I think they could probably test it out there. But yeah, I don't think they feel necessarily obligated to tell their citizenry about what all they do or how they do it.
No. Well, they're not even telling us everything.
Right.
And that's why many people believed that, assumed that the virus was made in China because they weren't telling us the original numbers of the amount of deaths that they had. I remember when this was all just starting out, we were
Mhm.
reporting that they were lying about the numbers,
Right.
like quite visibly lying about the numbers.
Right. One of the offices that do the cremations had ordered over 5,000 urns.
Oh, wow.
Yes, just for one crematory, and so the driver that delivered that actually shared that story. So, which flies in the face of what the official media reports are out of that area. So,
Mhm.
anyways, but
Yeah, so that just brings up the question, what else are they lying about? If they've lied about something as significant as the number of deaths, what
Right.
else could they be lying about?
right. Well, in the news before we started our show, they talked about the fact, or not, it was actually not in the news, but in Guy Benson's show, I think he talked about the fact that there was in Russia, because there were some physicians in Russia that were complaining to the Kremlin about the way the government is treating this disastrous virus outbreak in Russia, and a couple of those senior medical people have found themselves jumping out of windows, and not necessarily out of their own volition, I would think. So, yeah.
That even raises the question about an assistant professor here in the States that came from China that was supposedly very close to finding significant information on the COVID-19 virus, but was brutally murdered in a murder-suicide. So there's a lot of speculation that he
There might have been
was on
something there.
the
Yeah.
brink of finding something extremely significant, but was sadly killed right before exposing it to the world.
Terrible. Hey, all right.
Yeah,
Well,
and
we're gonna
Wait, what were
take
you
our
gonna
we're gonna
say?
take our next timeout now. So we're gonna step
All right.
aside, and we'll be right back in just a few minutes. All right. So hold that thought.
all right, so now we have how long of a break?
Looks like should be a couple minutes.
Okay. And then what time are we
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
ending at?
Right at the top of the hour.
Top of the hour. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
All righty.
And welcome back to WSTU 1450, the Treasure Coast Forum.
Well done. Well
I got it right that time.
You
Yeah.
did. Yes, you got it right every time. I'm the one that's running a little bit slow here, but
Oh,
yes. So welcome back, and we have just a few more minutes left before the top of the hour, and so we want to just make sure we thank our listeners and remind them that our students that join us are generally part of the South Fork High School Youth and Government program, and that's what this show is really featuring, quality students from South Fork and Martin County school systems that participate in the Youth and Government program.
Mm-hmm. And Youth and Government is all about it's all about debating ideas rather than people. So it's for a little preface, Youth in Government is exactly what it sounds like. It's youth participating in government. And so every single year we go to the state capitol and participate in legislative and judicial programs. And completely in the legislative department, we formulate bills and present them in the actual House of Representatives of the state capitol. So pretty cool stuff.
I'll say.
Yeah. So getting back into the coronavirus,
Yes.
do we want to talk about the man that was murdered, or do we want to talk about the potential baby boom?
Let's talk about the baby boom. That sounds
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's definitely going to be a lot of repercussions because of this virus, but
Mhm.
one that I don't think a lot of people are anticipating is a second mini baby boom.
Yes, it could dwarf the baby boomers from my generation. So
Yeah,
I'm-
the next generation is going to be called the baby boomers.
I love it.
Number 2.
The junior baby
Oh,
boom.
The junior baby boomers. There we go. But basically, you can probably presume why this is going to happen. The forced seclusion.
Right.
Yeah. So it's bound to happen. And well, I wonder if it'll actually, no, never mind. I can't say that. We're good. We're good. But another repercussion of the coronavirus is the benefits we see in the environment from all of the slowing carbon emissions.
Yeah.
So I think something that a lot of people already know about is how clear the water is in the Venice canals right now.
Mhm.
So over there, we're seeing clear water, and you can see jellyfish and dolphins swimming in the water, and those creatures haven't been seen in that area for, I can't even say how long, because of the major pollution.
Mhm.
But now that there's not as much human activity, the
Right.
animals are making a comeback.
Right. So, on the positive side of that ledger, the whole notion that we're destroying the planet and it's going to heck in a handbasket and all that in just a few days of not, impacting the water and air, Mother Nature finds a way to clean things up. Presto pronto.
Yeah.
So I think the hand wringing, there's two sides of that. The one side, and I get that, is like, we could be doing a better job, and no one could argue with that suggestion.
Mhm.
The other side of that is that that likely whatever damage we have done over the past 100 years or whatever is likely will clean itself up.
Yeah, it's potentially reversible.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. So
Well, I think that this should spark encouragement for people to attempt to reverse the damages. Since it's seemingly almost easy. It's just hard to limit the amount of carbon emissions.
And that's what the electric cars, Elon Musk is trying to do that. The problem is you still have to burn fossil fuels for the most part to garner most of the energy. You have to either use the nuclear power plants, or you need to burn fossil fuels to create the energy to charge the batteries to drive the cars. So
the electric cars aren't exactly green energy.
When they can come up with a car, the paint job is a solar panel and it's self-charging, now you've got something.
There we go.
Yeah. I suspect that will be the ultimate, where you just, by sitting at home or in the parking lot, that the car will regenerate its power cells, and then you've got something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be my thinking.
And then, getting back to the current discussion, another possible repercussion is it'll stop the polarization of the two different political parties here in the States. So
it hasn't happened.
I'm speculating that it's going to not totally solve the polarization, but it'll at least direct a common enemy for both sides. Because definitely we can detect a common enemy, the coronavirus. If anything, actually, no, I don't want to go that far, but to blame China, because China's not to blame.
Right.
But having the common enemy of the coronavirus, I feel like it'll unite people, just like how 9/11 united people to find like a common enemy and something that everyone can unite to back.
Yeah.
So that's my hope, that another possible repercussion of the virus. Something else that I've noticed is that people are utilizing resources around them more, like parks and beaches. I know driving on US 1 between Hope Sound and Tequesta, there's little nature trails that before I've never seen somebody pull over to the side of the road and walk, but now there are so many cars just parked on the side of the road, just walking these nature trails. So I think it's really nice that we're starting to notice the beauty around us. Like we all live in Florida and we live in such a beautiful environment. And before the virus, I feel like we just took our surroundings for granted and didn't we didn't take the time to notice the beauty around us. But now that we have all the time in the world, we get to acknowledge it.
Yeah, I think if anything, this virus is going to be a positive impact on the environment. Like, it's affecting everything so negatively. I think at least it's going to change something.
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic because it's like, oh, okay, the coronavirus is like killing us. Like, it's such a virus, whatever. But like, realistically, we're the virus of the earth. Like, we're killing the planet. So I think this is going to change a lot of people's perspective on what they need to focus on and what is important.
What actually is important in life, like family.
I think a lot of, in a time like this, we kind of like when there's nothing threatening us, like we lose focus on what is really important in life. This whole virus is gonna kind of encourage us to appreciate everything. Before this coronavirus happened, like I didn't appreciate my senior year. Like I was having a really tough time in school. All I wanted was to go home. All I wanted was to like not go to school. And like now that all came true and I have to stay home and I can't really see anybody, like all I want to do is go back to school, you know? So, like,
Yeah.
I appreciate everything a little more. And like another thing that I didn't mention earlier is that like regarding graduation, like Frank, you said that you don't remember your graduation, and I feel like if us seniors end up getting a graduation, like
Yeah, you'll
We'll
definitely remember
definitely
that.
remember it.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
appreciate it so much more because of the whole situation around us that we will never forget the experience.
Right.
And the battle to get the graduation. Yeah, because it has been a battle to try to get graduation for seniors. I know in my county, Martin County, a lot of students had meetings with the superintendent to attempt to convince her to let us have a graduation, and she finally deemed it safe in July according to the World Health Organization policies and the CDC's policies. So
Yeah, I mean, that all depends on how the situation keeps going and if people actually listening.
yeah, fingers crossed.
Right. So what do you think we'll be talking about next week? What do you got
I don't
on
know.
tap for
Hopefully
next
not the coronavirus. Gotta
Good.
switch up the discussion. I think
so
we wrapped up
we-
pretty much everything on the virus
Right.
except for the origins. We still don't know that.
Right. So-
We'll report on that if that ever comes out.
Okay.
But
All right. So we'll probably go back to talking about local, state, and
Yep.
national politics, maybe.
yeah, definitely.
All right.
All the
very
time in the
good.
world. Yep. And I'll be sure to get some guests in.
Right.
Talk more about youth and government.
And this is the time of year we begin to introduce our guest host
New
for the upcoming year, the upcoming school year season, right?
Yep.
And do we know who that new guest host will be?
Well, we're gonna have to discuss
somebody.
that.
Yeah, we've got some people tapped, right?
Yeah, we got some
Mhm.
people tapped. We'll
Yeah.
discuss that after the show. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Excellent. And well, we appreciate you taking time out of your student schedule to join us and fill our listeners up with the local information about what is going on with you, your school life, and both here in Martin and was it Dade County, right?
Yep.
Did you know, a little fun fact, that Martin County used to be part of Dade County back in the day?
How far back in the day? Do you know?
Well, before Governor Martin became governor of Florida, and they approached him and with the notion about creating Martin County, and so they said, well, let's name it at Martin County. And he thought, since his name was Martin, he thought it was a pretty good idea. So,
Yep.
so there you go. And we've got to go. All right.
See you next time.
We'll see you next week.
Better people out there, and I've talked to Mr. Welch about it, that there's this girl at Martin County that really wants to do it, like that is very, very passionate about it. I think that she's only maybe a sophomore, but I know that she's extremely smart. She's in youth and government, and she's on the debate team over at Martin County. And they have like a state level debate team. So I'm 100% sure she is amazing at speaking publicly. And yeah. So I think that she would be, like, personally,
All right.
I love.
Well,
both
reach
Jenna
out to
and-
her. Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But reach out to her and we want to get her to, guest host with you and
Yeah.
have you kind of nurture her along so that
Mhm.
she'll get
Yeah, I just think
comfortable
that
with
she
the
would
format.
be a better suit than
All right.
Jenna and Jamae, because basically with Jenna and Jamae, they're like a package. You can't have one of them be the host.
Well, and
So
that's
that's the
okay
problem.
too. Yeah, yeah, it's okay. So the other students, I saw that I had an opportunity to fill out that paperwork for you for your hours.
Yes.
The other students weren't so interested in participating to get their hours signed off on.
Well, that's only because they already have
Oh, they already got their hours. Okay,
they already got their
all
hours.
right,
Yeah,
all right.
they got their hours.
Okay,
And it's
Alright.
only like a minimum amount of hours that they need.
all right. They don't need to
So
show everything they're
they
doing.
surpassed that. Yeah.
Alright,
Plus, I
got it.
use this as like my CAS project, which is like a project. I can't even explain it. It's just like a little project that you do. So that's why like I logged mine and everything, and like I guess the other people didn't. So, yeah.
Okay, very
But
good.
I'll try to get into contact with Mr. Welch and find the girl's name
All right,
and you're on the show.
good, good.
Yep.
All right. Well, good. And hopefully maybe as early as next week, right?
Yep. I'll text him right now. Yep.
Super. Okay. Thank you so much. It was a great show.
Yep. No problem. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.